to welcome Casey's Outdoor Solutions as a new sponsor to our podcast. Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Casey's offers a wide selection of plants, landscaping materials, home and garden decor, and gifts for every occasion. Casey's is committed to providing exceptional service, a unique shopping experience, and value to every customer. Stop in and see what makes Casey's so unique. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, or call 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home. What are you doing on my tractor? What are you doing on my tractor?
I got a spot for my coffee.
Oh, yeah, that's about the only thing you need.
This is nice.
I was coming out to do a little bit of maintenance today, and all of a sudden, here you're out on my toy.
Well, I saw an open garage and this real nice tractor here. I thought, man, we're going to give it a little ride.
You're a piece of work. You know what we're talking about today on Strong Dads, don't you?
I think so. I think we're going to talk a little bit about how to fix your mower, your tractor here, because I'm sure the maintenance on this is not exactly upkept, is it, Merle?
I just bought this mower. It only had 80 hours on it, but the guy had no owner's manual and he had no records of any maintenance. So I figured I better start with a little bit of some starting points, some benchmarks. All right, so let's go through this thing.
Let's do it.
And
teach me how
figure
to
out.
fix this thing.
Man, I'll tell you, you're lost, aren't you?
I'm big time.
Hop off there. Get off there.
Let's get into this thing.
All right, couple of things. Like I said, there was no owner's manual for this, and so that's a whole discussion in itself right there.
Yeah.
All right, now you can download that online, which I actually do have that, but I didn't have it initially when I first got this thing. So a couple of things. When you are maintaining something, you better look at its overall condition, its general condition. And the general condition of this tractor was in pretty great shape. It's only 2 years old. Like I said, it had only 80 hours on it. It was used a little bit, not necessarily very clean, but it was in pretty good shape. But then I started looking at a few things. And a couple of things I looked at initially.
Got that? Let me help you there. That's
Yeah,
pretty
let
heavy,
me.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So one of the first things I did is I pulled out the dipstick. That's kind of another reference for you.
You call me a dipstick?
Dipstick, yeah. I pulled out the dipstick, and if you look at that, now it's nice and clean. I'm telling you, that oil was as black could be. So I was like, okay, so I'm guessing that that's probably never been changed in 80 hours. Right?
So what with the owner's manual recommendations? How often did it say you were supposed to change the oil in this? Because you said it was about 50 hours when you first got it.
Yeah, so it's recommended that the first 50 hours you should have an oil change on the break-in, and then every 100 hours, just depending on the type of use. And so, so it had never been changed.
Okay.
And so here I am thinking I'm pulling that out. It had 80 hours and it's just coal black. So I changed the oil in it just the other day.
Okay,
right?
Very cool.
Then I went back and checked the tire pressure. So actually these tires are all filled with a fluid to help add weight. So I went through and just checked out the tire pressure, and it's where I want it to be for these. So that's in pretty good shape. How about this mower deck?
Well, we've already attempted to get it set. I think this morning what the plan was.
Yeah.
So it was quite a task. I'll show the tool used for this maintenance here. the tool of the week here, besides you. We got this rubber mallet. Merle's in here swinging away when I first pull up.
I was not. Well, a little bit. So the mower deck had never been taken off, and so I took the mower deck off. Remember, I don't have an owner's manual, so I don't even know where half of these pins go and all this, so I'm just trying to mechanically figure it out, and I figured it all out. Took the mower deck off, took all the blades off, sharpened all the blades, greased all of the grease fittings. So there was probably, I forget now, but probably like 5 or 6 grease fittings on that mower deck alone. So I greased all those, put it back on, And I actually cut with it the other day, but I went to adjust a few things on it, and I still need to readjust those. So that's
now, when it comes to the blades, you said you got those. Did you actually sharpen those, or do you get those professionally done?
no. Are you serious? Professionally done? Did you just say
Are
that?
you the professional?
I am the
So
professional.
I got a question for you then. So when it comes to sharpening your blades, so have you found that if you do it inappropriate, or if you don't sharpen them even on both sides, do you feel the shakiness under the deck?
Yeah, so I don't take a whole lot off. I
Okay.
basically just take whatever the edge is and just clean it up.
Okay.
So if in the past, if I've had a blade that's bent or something, I usually just replace it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so you can tell when a blade gets out of its balance and everything, and then it starts making funny.
I had to ask if you were the professional.
Yeah, no, I just use my grinder
Okay.
and clean them up. Just take off any of the nicks and stuff like that. So try to just keep that same edge.
So what else? What other maintenance you got on this thing that you were looking at?
So I checked my air filter out. The air filter was really perfectly clean. It was good. That was no big deal. I checked my fluid levels for my radiator, checked my battery charge. And so all of those things tested out really well. One of the challenges with buying something without an owner's manual is, even though I've run tractors before, every tractor's got its own little setup. Yeah, and so like what lever is for power takeoff? What lever is for lifting the deck or lowering the deck? What is the transmission? How does it work? So trying to figure those things out is something that takes some time, and you just have to get very familiar with the maintenance of this to know whether you're going to mess something up or whether it's going to work well. So anyway, I do have it all maintained now. It's raised our cutting grass, and so we are ready to get on with it.
This obviously does more than just cuts grass, though, right? I would hope. I'm sure Linda hopes that it does more than just cuts grass too.
Yeah, so I actually have a front end loader for it, which I take off just because it's more of a hassle to keep the front end loader on it when you're out cutting grass, because it comes out all the way, way out past the front. So it just makes the vehicle a lot longer than it needs to be when you're cutting around the house and stuff.
Gotcha.
So it's got a bucket on the front. It's got on the back.
Four-wheel drive in this bad lad?
Well, I've got a pretty good hill in the backyard. That's one reason why I went to this, because I had a zero-turn mower, and the zero-turn the hill is steep and long enough that it was usually not very stable on the hill.
And then these Kubotas are diesel, right?
Yeah. So this is a
real deal.
this is my little mini toy.
I'll build it up, Linda. See, this is goodbye here.
It was good. So it does a lot of different stuff. I actually am kind of responsible for helping to plow our driveway or in our private lane that we have back here. So me and another guy. And the last year I wasn't able to help because my system that I had wasn't working. So I'll be able to plow some snow again with this.
So now you got a whole season. You got to have to make up the times that you failed your neighbor.
That's right. My poor neighbor was out in the cold while I was drinking coffee, laughing at him.
We got back here.
No,
that's where your owner manual is supposed to go.
That's where it's supposed to go. That's the
owner
owner manual place. So anyway, that's the Kubota, and that's the general maintenance. But what we're really going to get into today is talking about maintenance. We're going to talk about really what that means to us as strong dads, and how we just drop the ball on that a lot of times because we put other things in its place. I am guilty of not always changing the oil in vehicles when it needs to be. I'm guilty of not just doing some thorough checks on things. And you end up paying the price for that, whether it's a shorter engine or whether it is tires going flat or not handling well. So lots of stuff like that from not maintaining what we have.
For sure. Yeah, we're going to jump into it here. This has kind of been our little mini series we've done. We did an episode in my workshop talking about how to improve ourselves as a dad. We did one, the workshop was with improving as a husband. And then we went into your workshop, your fitness room, and talked a little bit there. And now we're out here doing some basic maintenance, just talking about how to improve ourselves as men. So if you guys haven't checked out our previous shows, definitely go check those out. Before we jump into sitting down and talking, having the nice backdrop here, the Kubota tractor, definitely want to thank Casey Outdoor Solutions and Kramer's Beer House for coming alongside of us. We really do appreciate you guys. So I think we're ready. Let's jump into it, Merle. Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to Strong Dads. Man, so did you check out the new Kubota?
I did. She's a beaut, Clark.
She's a beaut,
She's
Clark.
a beaut, Clark.
We're having some fun today. Today we had the opportunity, hopefully you got to see the front part of what we were doing there, just talking about maintenance, general maintenance, and the things that we're responsible for, right? The things we need to take care of and hopefully keep them from falling apart and causing other frustration and disasters in our life.
Isn't that true, though? I mean, man, there's so many things that I neglect, and it's just like, I just don't feel like doing that right now. I'll get to it later.
Yeah.
And then that later turns into later, and then all of a sudden it's like, and now it's in a sense, like you have to do something about it. It's just falling apart.
Now, I know a couple of these guys, not many. These are the exceptions, but I know guys who have maintenance schedules written out for every single mechanical thing they own in their house. Oh, let's see, light bulbs need to be changed. And they have a date written down as to when they're going to do it or what the last time was. They know smoke detectors. I know you're a fireman. I should be better about this, but
I should be better about this too.
I mean, smoke detectors. Oh yeah.
Well, that's funny you said that. So when we bought our house a few years back, when we were doing just our walk around, walk past the furnace, and the original owner of the house had a list. He had like a piece of paper and had every month crossed off.
That's funny.
He had put written down all the months for the rest of the year, and after he changed the filter in there, he would cross it off. And I'm like, all right, this is going to be a good furnace for me.
Yeah. Well, I make fun of those guys only because I'm envious of them. Because I don't do that. I have a general idea of when things need to be done.
Yeah.
And then I usually let them break, and then I fix them.
Yeah.
So, but we are going to get into this a little bit about the maintenance of things. And really, one of the things that we've seen more and more with a lot of men is the idea that if they're not good at something, we have more money available to us. We now pay people to change oil in our cars. We pay people to cut our lawn. We pay people to clean our gutters. We pay people because we're not very good at it or we're not interested in it.
Yeah.
And so, and some of those things you can get by with, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying you can get by with it, but there are certain things that you cannot hire out.
Right. Well, and part of that, I think that definitely a big component of the lack of maintenance, especially when it comes to just normal stuff, everyday stuff, is time. And guys fall into the rut of getting stuck in, I go to work, I drive home, I come home, I'm with the family, kids go to bed, I want to relax. And the maintenance stuff just kind of get put on the back burner, which sometimes rightfully so. There's definitely things in our life that we need to prioritize. But when it comes to just the daily maintenance of everyday stuff and us as men, man, we got to prioritize it. We have to set aside time to be able to say, I'm going to put forth effort in this.
Right.
Yes, I might have to sacrifice something else in my life, but if that means maintaining myself, maintaining my equipment to make sure it functions the way then you have to do that.
Yeah. So on Strong Dads today, what we're going to do is we're going to run down through a list of items or things that we are called to maintain that we cannot hire out. It doesn't mean we can't get help in some of these areas, but the bottom line is though the work has to be done by us. Yeah. And when we fail it, the implications are more than whether I'm going to get my grass cut or not. Yeah. The implications are can be long-lasting, can be hurtful, damaging to more than just yourself, but to people outside of you. So we're going to run through a list that we created here on Strong Dads that you as a man need to step up and start to maintain. Yeah. And I would even advocate that you do put together a little calendar on some of these items to make sure that you've done this. Yeah. And we'll talk about what that looks like. So the first one that you have to maintain, and these are in an order for a particular reason. So the first one that you have to maintain is faith. You're a strong dad. You're listening to Strong Dads, which is faith-based in what we work through and how we present our understanding of life. How do you maintain your faith?
Man, this is This is a tough one. I think for men just in general, this is difficult because I think a faith requires you to have an emotional connection. And this is something that I really do struggle with because I'm not a very emotional guy. But that's why we've talked all the time about seeking wisdom from other people. I have a small group, which, before the show we were talking, I have my small group. We have it on Tuesday nights. Man, I get fed from the guys that I do life with. Other men that encourage me, that hold me accountable, that challenge me. So I use the heck out of my small group. Other guys that I do life with, I can't tell you the number of times I've called you, be like, bro, I'm struggling. I need, this is going on in my life. I just need someone to speak truth to me.
Yeah.
And part of that faith, man, is not only do you have to seek wisdom from other people and seek, and have a small group, have other guys you do life with, but this is something that I personally struggle a lot with, is just having that one-on-one time with Jesus. Like, man, my personal time, my one-on-one time with Jesus, it's hard because, again, like I was saying before, you have to prioritize that. That has to be a priority. Something, you're going to have to give out something. So if that means you're in your car and you're just not listening to the radio, not listening to other podcasts, whatever, because you're spending that time, like, you have to do that. Like, so I hate reading, Merle. I hate reading with every desire, every passion.
That bad?
I hate it. I hate it. But I also understand that part of my relationship, any relationship, is there's a talking and then there's a listening portion. And there's no way for Jesus to ever speak truth to you unless we're in his word and we're reading what he wants for our life. Now more than ever, the technology, the ability to just listen to someone read scripture to you is so incredible. Once a year, my small group, we do a 90-day Bible challenge. We're reading the entire Bible in 90 days. And we're going to do it again this year in June. So this will be our third year. Man, it is an incredible time to dive into, read the Old Testament. If you've never read the Old Testament, because, I feel like sometimes, in our faith we get caught up in the New Testament, man, the Old Testament's got some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Some really applicable stuff that we can apply to our life. So, that faith component that you're talking about is so vitally important.
Yeah. For me, faith is the constant reminder of actually who's in charge.
Yeah.
And so the daily work, not the... it's great to do the occasional retreat and to do those kind of things. Those are really cool. Those are helpful.
Yeah.
But it's the daily work. It's we're going to talk about taking care of our body as well. And I mean, you can't do that with, like you do, one workout a year. That's not going to cut it. And so the faith is that way. And man, I can find myself drifting out of that. Like, my intention would be that every day I get up and I start with a faith workout, and whether it's reading, whether it's listening, whether it's just silence and prayer time, and that can be one of the first things that I fail to maintain. Oh, we're busy today. I've got to get an early appointment. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. And so making faith a maintenance priority is critical. Proverbs 9:10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding." I mean, the beginning of wisdom is understanding your place with God, the hierarchy of that, and understanding you didn't create yourself, you didn't create this earth, you didn't create anything. He's the creator. And that idea then that you are there to manage it and to take care of what he's given you. And so recognizing that. So that's the faith component. So I want to encourage you guys, daily basis. I don't know why this is, but lately it's been on my mind, the importance of community worship. So the church component, I have friends and I run into people all the time. I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, but I don't like to do the church thing. I don't do the church thing. And, I don't know why, but for some reason over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's been coming across my reading. It's been coming across some of my conversations about the importance of the community, the faith community, the church. And basically to, one, like a herd to protect the flock. All right, so it helps to protect, especially from the crazy world we live in, but also then to help kind of feed the flock in terms of taking care, making sure that everybody in there is doing all right. And again, church community can get weird and crazy, right? Because it's filled with people. Yep. But trying to find a healthy church community so that you can be protected by that and you can grow in that, and then you can grow others up, and that is really important.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. As we continue to talk about just the things that we got to maintain in our life, faith obviously being number one. The second most important thing that has to be maintained in your life, without a doubt, is your marriage.
Yeah.
Man, if your wife feels left out, if she doesn't feel like you are taking care of her, that you're doing the daily stuff that has to be done, the monthly stuff that has to be done, man, your marriage is going to suffer. And I don't know a man in the world that could tell you if they went through a divorce that it was easy.
No.
We actually talked about that down at church. Had a whole series the preacher talked all about marriage, and divorce sucks. Right? Yeah. And it's hard, and it crushes people, and it bruises people, and it leaves these scars. And man, if you would just do basic maintenance, basic things every day, pursuing your wife, making sure she knows that you still want to be with her, right? I remember the very first time Jenny and I were driving on our honeymoon, and I looked at her and I said, if this is going to work, we have to do certain things, because divorce is not an option for us, right? And obviously, everyone's different. There's different circumstances that fall into your life that may lead to, a situation where things just aren't going well. But man, you got to put the time. You have to put effort. You have to do the basic maintenance stuff. Jenny and I go on a monthly date. Even though life is crazy, we have 2 kids, we're both working full time. Like, we prioritize each other, and it's more her saying we're going on a date tonight, and which is good because we're both in it together. That I know I have a partner that it's not the 50-50, that we're both in this 100%.
Yeah. I think I know plenty of men that come into rock solid families, our ministry, and because I know some of these guys, they do an incredible job of maintaining a lot of the mechanical stuff. They're the carpenters, they're the mechanics. They take care of that stuff. But it's not that they don't understand maintenance. It's that they're not comfortable with it. It's kind of like a guy who's not comfortable maintaining his car, so he takes it to the shop. Well, if you're a guy who's not comfortable with maintaining your marriage, there's no easy shop to take it to. Okay, yeah. And so learning the fundamentals of how to take care of that, and you mentioned a lot of those. One thing that I recommend every one of our strong dads do out there, every day you have a daily check-in with your wife. That check-in means you talk about the day, you talk about what's going on, you just have a little bit of conversation, 5-10 minutes, all it has to be. But in that talk, this is what you have to get out of that. That talk, you don't really get into all the words, you read her heart. The basic question is, how is she doing? And if you can see how she's doing and address that, that doesn't mean fix it. Please understand what I'm saying. It's not you to fix her, all right? And that's where other guys, they over-maintain, right? And then they get into a controlling position of their wife, and she doesn't respond well to that. So the idea that we have a daily talk, I read how she's doing, I even check, so how you doing, babe? What's going on? And let her feed that back to me. And then I do a simple question, is there anything that I can do for you today? And that is a daily maintenance that allows her to know that she is being cared for and that she will reciprocate back to you. She'll care for you, right? So that's your daily. And then we do other things, like we go on weekenders, or we go on date nights, or we go on a vacation. These are other bigger items that help, those are like the bigger car maintenance kind of things. Yeah. Sometimes these things, though, are not fun, they're not comfortable, and so we avoid them. So you got to give and take on these, you got to do the hard work, but it pays off. That's how you get marriages that thrive over 50 plus years versus, sink after 5 years. Yeah.
Man, that's definitely a good one to continue to fall back onto, that maintenance with your marriage, because it's never going to go wrong. There's never going to be a time when maintenance in your marriage is going to lead you astray. Like, that maintenance has to be done. So as we continue to move down, I think the next one that we want to talk about is our family and maintaining that. And man, this is big. Like, I want my girls to be loved and felt pursued by me. Obviously my family includes a lot more than just my girls and my wife. And obviously I think that's what, the majority of our conversation is going to be geared towards. But there's so much more when we talk about the family and all the different, the parts of your family. But inside your home, when we're talking about, you and inside your home, man, we have to maintain that. We have to do, Jenny is really big on family dinners. And I think that is a great time for us just to check in, just similar to what you're talking about with your marriage, doing that daily check-in. Mm-hmm. Man, how was your day, Ava? How was your day, Mia? What did you guys do today in school? And we prioritize that, man. What does that tell my girls? I hope that in 20 years they look back and say, we had daily dinner with mom and daddy, because I know I did. I remember my mom prioritized that. It was like we were having a sit-down dinner.
Yeah.
And that's going to be something we're going to do. We did a no TV Monday. My mom, on Mondays, we weren't going to watch TV. We're going to spend time with each other. And those are things that I remember and what that's done for me and how that shaped me in my life. And I want the same for my girls. I want them to be molded and shaped in someone that prioritizes family, prioritizes Jesus. Like, those are things that hopefully Jenny and I are instilling in our girls.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on with this. I would say I started to hear more of this phrase. And we all rationalize things, right? Yep. And us men we're the best at it. And these were busy men, and they're like, okay, so I'm working, I'm traveling a lot, I'm not there, but how about just when I am home, it's quality time. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, that's a great idea. Quality time's a great idea, but it's not enough. Yeah. You need some quantity in your time, and quantity means. Quality is in our mind. We're like, okay, so what does that mean? Well, when I am with them, I'm going to actually be engaged. I'm going to do my thing with them. A lot of times, your kids just need your presence. Your presence creates a security in them. Yeah. I remember coming home from school, and my mom was always there when we were younger and growing up. And on the rare occasion that she wasn't there, whether she had an appointment or whatever, us kids would come home and be like, well, where's mom? Well, what's going on? Well, what are we supposed to do? All of a sudden, a heightened, insecure feeling. Yeah. And so it's just the presence that you have of you being around pays dividends to your kids in terms of security. So I'm not dismissing quality time. I absolutely believe quality time is what we are about. But that quantity, do not dismiss that either. If you're working 80 hours a week and you come home and maybe poke your head in the bedroom door and kiss them goodnight, and then on Saturday you play a game with them and you call that your quality time, let's just call it straight, guys, not enough. Yeah. Not enough to maintain your family. Yeah. And so this might mean cutting back at work. This might mean cutting back on some of the extracurriculars that you do. But Strong Dads calls it out straight. We call it out straight because it's a priority. And the last thing that you want is for your kids someday, because this will happen in their teens, they will start disengaging from you naturally. Sure. They've become busy. They want to hang out with their friends. And now all of a sudden you're losing the opportunity for even quality time. Yeah. Right? And so they're not invested in you because they never saw the habit that you invested in them in just the sake of time. Yeah, so please,
I've never thought of that. That's a really cool. That's a good point, man. When your kids, and I don't have teenagers, but I'm sure when they get, I'm sure that would hurt. Like, hey, Ava, we're going to go out to dinner as a family, and Ava looks at me and says, "Oh, Daddy, I'm going to go hang out with my friend." Golly, that would hurt. I'd be like, man, you want to hang out with them more than me? Like, I'm pretty cool, right? But if you've neglected your family for so long, you've done the exact same thing to them.
Yeah, and the more the less quantity time that you have with kids and your presence isn't around, when they do start getting the opportunity to go out with other friends, they don't even think to check in with you because you have not checked in to them on a regular basis. And so the next thing you know, you're like, well, where's so-and-so? Well, they went out with some friends. And you're going, well, it would have been nice if they told us. Yeah. Okay. So the habit here of just establishing more frequency is critical. Please do not fall into this thing of it's just about quality time. Again, I'm not dismissing the quality time, but it is about a quantity too. And I'm not going to go in and talk about the actual number of minutes because that's silly. But for you to excuse and rationalize yourself Well, as long as I have one good day a week where I'm doing something. Listen, your kid would rather, have fun and talk to you casually for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes every day and just monkey around. I mean, there's not a day that goes by when I'm not walking by my younger son and we're not getting into a 45-second little wrestling match.
Right.
Those mean something.
Yeah. I'll let you take this next one because I'm not quite sure I should be the one talking about this, talking about maintaining yourself and getting yourself in shape. So it's all you, Merle. Good luck. See you guys.
Yeah. You're a piece of work. The next thing really that you can't have anybody else maintain is self. Your body is the temple. And what does that mean? Well, you are, let's put it this way, you are the hands and feet. We always talk about, well, if I sit around and pray long enough, maybe Jesus will do something. The actual message there is you are the hands and feet of Jesus. You have to be a doer. Brian Tome talks in his aggressive life about you got to do something. Just sitting around and praying is almost a slap in the face of what your purpose is. Your purpose is to do. And in order to do, you have to be of adequate ability in terms of taking care of yourself. And so, we can think of excuses all day long and in all of these other areas. I have my excuses. But the idea, and I make fun of you, Kyle, with you're working out, but you are blessed to be naturally fit. You don't carry extra weight. You have good energy. So, you're able to, it's not like you lay on the couch and do nothing but deteriorate. It's this guy who you stay fit through busyness. Okay, that was like my dad. That was like a lot of our parents. My dad never worked out a day in his life, but you would have never called him out of shape.
Sure.
All right, and so that general taking care of yourself versus all of a sudden I get to a point where I can't do stuff, I don't have the energy, I don't have the focus, I don't have the right attitude, all because I don't feel good. Yeah. So taking care of yourself is more than just going into the weight room. In fact, I'd actually put the weight room on the very, very back end of that.
Sure.
And even though we do a lot of that in our ministry, just take care of yourself, keep your energy. Like for me, I always think about to myself, like, how's my energy been? Because if my energy is not good, then everything else falls apart.
Yep.
So a lot of times I've worked out too much and my energy suffers, which then that hurts all the other parts that I'm trying to maintain. I'm not good with my family. I'm not good with my marriage. I'm not good with my faith because I've worked out too much, right? And so eating better, drinking more water, sleep maintenance. Man, sleep is huge.
Rest. Yep.
Yeah,
Rest.
I mean, good quality sleep. These are some of the big components of self-maintenance that you have to put into the mix. And it's not just whether you're lifting weights or not.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a pass on some of that. Yes.
Well, this next one, man, I think is really good, and maybe I'll group the next two together. When we talk about work and maintaining your work, this might be difficult because some guys are unhappy at their work, right? Some guys just go to work because that's what they feel like they're supposed to do. Like him or hate him, I just was listening to Dana White talking about the UFC, the guy who runs the UFC, and he basically was saying that he got stuck in a rut. And he was like, I'm done with this. I'm not happy. I have to make a change. And he did that. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's what you have to do, but I thought it was a bold statement because someone who is now obviously the back end, you can see the success story of Dana White. But I also think, man, when we talk about maintaining your work and are you happy at work, if you're not, like, life is way too short. Find something that makes you happy, but it also has to fit in line with all the everything else we've talked about when it comes to maintenance, like your family, like everything you do, your family is going to feel the effects of that. But when we talk about your work and putting in the maintenance, I would encourage you, if you're not happy, first, I think there needs to be some self-evaluation. Like, is it me? Is the reason I'm not happy in my work is because of the attitude that I'm bringing to work? Because the grass is not always green on the other side, right? A different job, a different avenue that you're looking at, maybe not what it all is cracked up to be. But I think when it comes to your work, man, we have to do a little bit of self-evaluation. Be like, am I bringing a good attitude to my work? Am I unhappy because when I come to work, I'm like, well, today's just going to be a shitty day, right? Like, if that's the attitude when you pull up to your job, like, well, yeah, it's not going to be a good day, right? Like, I think that there's definitely, your attitude has to play a part into your work and the way that you function when you're at work. Because people feed off of that. Your coworkers feed off of that, and they're like, well, golly, Kyle's in a bad mood today. Like, it doesn't, the overall, all the colleagues that you have, especially at my work, like, if we have a guy that's not in a good mood, he's not there mentally and physically, like, I don't really want to work with you today because of the job that I do. I'm not really okay with working with you today.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I have a rule in our house, and that is, if you're in a bad mood, you don't get to impact the rest of the house for the rest of the day. If you're in a bad mood, you either go isolate yourself or you go get your mood taken care of. Yeah. And the same thing happens in the workplace. Kyle, I couldn't agree with you more on this. In fact, there's an old saying, you ask somebody, especially a man, you ask a man how he's doing. How you doing, bud? Oh, same old stuff or same crap, different day, or whatever it is. And I learned very early, that's on you, dude. Yeah. That is on you. And so I'm calling you out, strong dads out there. You have a choice here. When you get into that same old attitude, then that's on you. You are playing victim card. You've got to do something about it. One, you either look at what you have and look at what you can control. All right? Listen, can I look for a different job? Do I need to get more education? Do I need to do the work? Listen, if you're not willing to do the work, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Stop your whining, because that's really what that comes down to. Maybe it's a difficult time due to the season you're in. Hey, we know a lot of seasonal type employees, and certain times, man, they are stressed out. But their attitude can change when they go, hey, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see this season starting to change. We've talked about that in other shows. The bottom line here, guys, is your work is important. And we are called to work as if we are working for the Lord. Because you're not working for other men. You're not working for other people. You have a purpose in work, and that is to please God. Because when you work, you please God by serving others. And when you are just stuck in how you're not getting served, you're not pleasing Him. Yeah. And so much of when I see a negative attitude in the workplace, I don't tolerate it much. I'm like, listen, I get a bad day, and I'll give you the pass card on that. But if I see somebody in the long haul, you either figure out how you can put a smile on that face and get through it and work for the Lord, or you change your situation. And either way is good. Listen, I've done really long, hard jobs that were not exciting and thrilling, but I had to check my attitude before I destroyed what I was going to walk into. Yeah. And so I call you strong dads out on that. Is it time for a job change, or is it time for an attitude change? Either way, your work is on you. Yeah,
and which I know when we were talking about work, I talked about how they almost go together. Is our community, and what that how our community really plays an effect on who we are as a man. Like the guys I work with, my small group guys, like my friends, those are all part of my communities. Obviously, the goal and the hope is that your community shares similar values. They don't have to be exactly in line. I think that maybe it's something that our society is really missing right now, that if you disagree with me or you have a different value, I can't be your friend. I can't associate myself with you. Yeah, there's obviously some fine lines that we want to draw that break. Like, okay, I'm not going to get involved with that. But I also think, like, your community, you can have people who disagree with you. That's okay to have people in your life that disagree with you. Again, draw that line. This is where me and my life, my family, this is where we stand. I'm not going to jump into this, even though someone in your community, someone a coworker that you have goes and does that. Absolutely. By no means, I don't think either of us would say, well, I can't be with you. Like, that's not what Jesus has called us to do. Like, we're supposed to invest in our community, invest in the people that are in your life. Yes, obviously the ones that are closest to you should share a similar value to you, should have that your ethics and your morals. Like, they should fall in line with what you are. But absolutely, I think your community stretches way beyond just your friends and your coworkers. Like, there's so much that goes in your community, your actual real community. Like, what are you doing for your community to make it a better place? Like, how are you impacting, whether it's at your church, whether it's in your townships, in your cities? What are you doing to benefit and to help and build those communities up?
Really interesting things are coming out as we speak here. The census numbers for the 2020 census are finally coming together, and now there's redistricting and stuff like that with our political representation. And one of the things that we're noticing across our country is that there is a fleeing of the urban environments. And I just want to call this out for what it is. There's a reason why people are leaving those areas. Those communities are not happy or healthy to raise kids in. They're not safe. There's increase in violence and these kind of things. Here's my point. That is, if you live in that community, it is your community to make sure at a foundational level. That means when I'm raising kids to have the values, Kyle, that you were talking about. And so as a strong dad, and this is what we see, it's interesting, there's mass flee in those areas. There's also mass dad absence in those areas. That is not coincidental. You'll hear me out. That's not coincidental. The idea that those communities are falling apart is because dads have not stayed and invested in people well. Yeah. And so if you don't want your community to fall apart, as a dad, you stay and invest in the things that we've talked about here today. Yourself, your faith, your marriage, your kids, your work, your community. When you invest, if we all start to invest in that in a healthy way, there's going to be no reason to flee your community. Right? So think about what's actually going on here. When I see people leaving areas, almost always, unless there's some kind of natural disaster or something that has made it inhabitable, almost always I can see that there's a social fault in what we are doing as dads.
Man, this is hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation as we dove into different basic maintenance. None of this stuff is earth-shattering. None of this stuff is groundbreaking, brand new information that's out there. This is just stuff that I think over time, you start to evaluate, why is my life crumbling? Like, why is this machine not working, right? And a lot of it just comes down to basic maintenance. We're just missing it. I think in general, men are just missing the mark when it comes to the daily maintenance. We're very quick to know how to maintain our lawnmowers and our tractors and our motorcycles and our boats. We know how to maintain that stuff because I think men are called to work with their hands. Like, we're good at that stuff, right? This is the other side of this. I think this is where a lot of men fall short, myself included at times. Like, I fall short on the daily maintenance, and this is just hopefully it enlightens it, hopefully brings up some good conversations. To start that conversation, to start having a conversation with your wife, to start having a conversation with Jesus, like, man, I need to maintain this relationship. I need to make sure these are the two most important relationships in my life. And then I got to do some self-reflection. I got to realize that I play a huge part in the lack of maintenance that go on in my life. It's on me as a man. Like, I'll carry that burden. Like, but not only am I going to carry that burden, but I got to make changes. I got to start to fix that thing. I got to start to maintain those.
Yeah, I want to close things out on something that. Actually, Linda, my wife, pointed out to us
earlier. You're going to give her credit?
I have to give her credit. Right. She keeps the grease on the wheels around here. Right. And so I told you at the very beginning when we were talking about the tractor behind me that it came without an owner's manual. Yep. And so what that has meant to me is that I have a mechanical awareness of things, but I am just guessing and checking. Yeah. Like, well, what does this pin do? Well, how do I do this? Well, how much oil? Well, which size filter? I'm guessing. And a lot of times I'm guessing right. But Kyle, you and I actually struggled a little bit on my mower deck because there's a pin that is not quite ready to go in. And I don't have the manual. Guys, there is a manual for this that I need to get my hands on. There's a manual for everything we just talked about today, all right? That manual is God's word. It's the Bible. I have a buddy.
Good job, Linda.
You bring it home, babe. And that idea of the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Look at that. That's pretty cool. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, basics instructions before. No, that's Frank Henniger. That's our buddy Frank, and he drills that into all of us when we do our Saturday morning strong dance class.
That's cool.
Because all the time we're talking about what we think we should do, how we should maintain things. Everything that I've talked to you guys about today, I actually reference through Scripture. This is not things that we just pulled from thin air, like, well, this is what I think. Instead, it's from the manual. And that manual is that common thread that keeps us working consistently, especially when we're trying to maintain the things that we're called to maintain. So I really want to emphasize that if you, Kyle, like you said, you guys are challenging each other to get into the Word, get into the Word. I mean, if you don't know something, just get into that. Just pick it up. Don't feel ignorant about, I don't even know what page in the manual to go to. All right? Check in with somebody. Call somebody. Talk to a minister, a priest. Get connected and start figuring out what that manual says, because that manual is about you. Yeah. Right? It is all about you. So anyway, we want to wrap things up. You want to say thanks to a couple people?
For sure. I can't say definitely this time. Casey's Outdoor Solution, the Crimer's Beer House. We really do appreciate you guys coming alongside of us, believing in what we believe in. Thanks so much for all you guys out there. Keep listening to us. Keep staying tuned. Again, if you haven't heard the other two parts of this little mini-series, definitely go check those out. Really appreciate you guys. Give us a 5-star rating. Reach out to Rock Solid Families if you have questions. If you want to dive into daily maintenance for yourself, for you, for your spouse, reach out to Rock Solid Family. They would love to help you. Merle and Linda, they have a great ministry. For sure, check those guys out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And we really appreciate you guys. Go out there, do some daily basic maintenance, and go out there and be some strong dads.
Got it.
Kill it. I didn't give your number though. Sorry.
You what?
I need to know your name. 812-576-7625. That's rock. Hey, this is Kyle Crawford from Strong Dads. Strong Dads podcast would love to thank the Crimer's Beer House for coming alongside of us. The Crimer's Beer House was started in 1982 by the Crimer family, and since that time, they have definitely become a Cincinnati favorite. So if you're looking for an incredible meal in an incredible setting, definitely go down to Route 128 and check out the Crimer's Beer House.